Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus was speaking. While Jesus was speaking, an official came forward, knelt down before him and said, "My daughter has just died. But come and lay your hands on her, and she will live." Jesus rose and followed him, and so did his disciples. A woman suffering from hemorrhages for 12 years came up behind him and touched the tassel of his cloak. She said to herself, "If only I can touch his cloak, I shall be cured." Jesus turned around and saw her and said, "Courage, daughter, your faith has saved you." And from that hour, the woman was cured. When Jesus arrived at the official's house and saw the flute players and the crowd who were making a commotion, he said, "Go away, the girl is not dead but sleeping." And they ridiculed him. When the crowd was put out, he came and looked at her and took her by the hand. And the little girl arose. And news of this spread throughout all the land. The Gospel of the Lord. Just in case you don't know the background of Hosea, very quickly, God asked Hosea to marry a prostitute because God was telling him, "You're going to be a sign about how Israel constantly prostitutes itself to other people, but Hosea would be the sign who brings her back in a never-ending call of mercy." And so what has happened is she has stepped out on him again by this time in the second chapter of Hosea. And God says, "I will allure her." An interesting word. I will allure her. You see, this woman has been accustomed to being seduced, and she's accustomed to being a seducer. However, God is reaching out his hand to allure her. In other words, to charm her. And when you're seducing, it's very easy to fall into the trap of the seducer. However, when you're charming, you're giving a person some joy and a chance to actually accept the charm or not. "She shall call me my husband," Hosea goes on to say, speaking for the Lord, that is. And so the people of Israel are the bride, just as we say the church is Christ's bride. And he is inviting her, that is the people of Israel, to come to him, to be her husband, and not just another man, but to be bonded and wed to her. It's kind of romantic. Never again will you call for Baal. Baal was a false god. Better to call it a demon, because that's what false gods are. And this woman has been consorting with Baal. And God is willing to wipe this away. Never again, my Baal. He's inviting her to really be a wife to him in a marriage. And he goes on, I will espouse you in right and justice. It's not only going to be a legality, but it's going to be a privilege that I'm inviting you into. A right and justice. In love and mercy and fidelity, Hosea goes on to say, as he speaks for God, you shall know that I am the Lord. A recognition that God, who is called Lord, loves her and wants to be bonded to her in the same way he wants to be bonded to us. We are the bride that he speaks about. And we often go on the wrong path. But in his power as Lord and his lordship, his fidelity is irrevocable. He will not take it back. If we step away from that, it's our fault, not his. For his part, his fidelity is irrevocable. It's an ever-flowing fountain of mercy. In other words, he will never give up on us. Never. Yet, we have the freedom to give up on him. In this reading from Hosea, what I see is God's initiative as the groom to make an effort to go out to his bride. In the Gospel of Matthew, we see something a little bit different. In the Gospel of Matthew, an official comes forward. And he kneels down. He is affirming Jesus' place as the Lord, as the husband. And he represents the bride, the church. He kneels down and agrees with the authority of Christ. And the woman with the hemorrhages, if only I can touch his cloak, she has the desire for the groom as a faithful wife. She wants to be bonded to him. In other words, the official who desires help for his daughter and this woman with the hemorrhages, they are exerting the initiative toward the groom. They are the bride expressing the initiative of being with the groom and bonded to him. The initiative of the bride is to have, I can't read my writing here. The initiative of the bride is to have faith in the groom and never grow tired of pursuing his mercy.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, qui